now face the prospect of losing their security clearances. They include former CIA Director John Brennan, who is also an MSNBC analyst, former NSA Director Michael Hayden, and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, among others. The officials are known for their outspoken defense of the U.S. intelligence community. They've all backed the conclusion that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, and many have expressed alarm that the Trump campaign may have collaborated with the Kremlin to do just that. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders made that unprecedented announcement in an almost choreographed response today to a question served up by John Gizzi of the conservative outlet Newsmax.
Senator Rand Paul today made a strong attempt to vitiate the credibility of former CIA Director John Brennan, saying that he's, and I quote, monetizing his security clearance and that it should be removed from him. He even called on the president to do this.
Not only is the president looking to take away Brennan's security clearance, he's also looking into the clearances of Comey, Clapper, Hayden, Rice, and McCabe. The president is exploring the mechanisms to remove security clearance because they've politicized and in some cases monetized their public service and security clearances. Making baseless accusations of improper contact with Russia or being influenced by Russia against the president is extremely inappropriate. And the fact that people with security clearances are making these baseless charges provides inappropriate legitimacy to accusations with zero evidence.
Well, this follows another attempt by the president to dictate reality when it comes to the Kremlin's interference in the 2016 election. In a tweet last night, the president appeared to claim that Russia's attack on the election was itself a hoax, an apparent effort by Trump to convince his base out there that it never happened. None of it. Trump wrote, so President Obama knew about Russia before the election. Why didn't he do something about it? Why didn't he tell our campaign? Because it's all a big hoax. That's why. And he thought crooked Hillary was going to win. Was yet another reversal by this president after he repeatedly waffled last week over whether he believes Russia attacked our election. However, Sarah Sanders said today that the president was not calling Russian interference a hoax, but was instead referring to allegations of collusion.
So does he believe the interference was a big hoax, or does he have faith in the intelligence agencies that have concluded definitively the other way?
We maintain that Russia interfered in the elections. The president, however, very much so, and has repeatedly, as again have the rest of us, that his campaign colluding in that process is a total hoax, and we still hold strong to that.
The tweet suggested overall that it was a hoax, though.
The president is referencing the collusion component.
The president is referenced. Give me a break. Joining me now is Robert Costa, political reporter for The Washington Post, Natasha Bertrand, staff writer for The Atlantic, Ken Delaney, national security reporter with NBC News, and David Jolly, a former Republican congressman from Florida. I just want to start with something a little out of order. What happened yesterday, Robert? Donald Trump is, for his own purposes, an excellent communicator. Nobody knew better how to reach the American sort of nervous system in 2016 than this guy. On immigration, all kinds of issues, stupid wars, he knew how to communicate. How come day after day now we have to have a retranslation, a reinterpretation of everything he says? Would, well, actually it meant would. Oh, I'm sorry, wouldn't meant would. No, didn't he? No, in that context. No, in some other context. And here we have yesterday talking to his base saying the whole thing's a hoax. Today, oh, for the intellectual press, oh, he didn't mean that. He meant something much more narrow. Is Trump lying here when he says it's a hoax one day and has this person say the next day it's not a hoax? Where's the truth?
Every day he's swinging his political axe against the credibility of the ongoing special counsel investigation, raising questions about its existence, working with congressional allies like Devin Nunes, the House Intelligence Committee chairman, to question the whole investigation from the start, its origin, the documents involved, the FISA warrants. He continues to refer to it as a hoax on social media. It's all about rallying the base around this presidency before Mueller issues that report.
And so, and to gather that up into one thought, today, when he decided to go out and say we're going to deny intelligence briefings, the regular security briefings given to former top security people, we're going to deny those briefings because we want to punish people who don't sing my song, basically. What's that about?
The Justice Department, when it began the Russia investigation, believes it had probable cause to start looking into the Trump campaign and to different connections it may have had with the Russian government or Russian figures. What the president is doing, when you talk to his advisors and his allies, he's trying to raise questions about the entire intelligence community, about core institutions of government, the FBI, Department of Justice, CIA, about how they're scrutinizing him and his campaign and his campaign associates.
Well, I'll give you a nasty interpretation, Natasha. I think he's out there to diminish the credibility of anybody who criticizes him. We're not going to give him intelligence briefing because they're out there making money on intelligence. They're monetizing all this information. Reduce them. The guy's just sucking up money, just grabbing money. When in fact, they're actually criticizing him for what he's done. He's destroying his opposition.
I mean, it's pretty rich to have the White House complain about people monetizing their public service when the president, of course, visits his own golf courses and properties so much. But this is all about his obsession with attacking the professionalism of the very intelligence community that now is investigating him. That's really what it comes down to. And what all these people have in common, whose clearances that he wants revoked and whose clearances he does have the power to revoke, is that they could potentially bear witness to him in the investigation. They could be witnesses against him as part of the Russia investigation because they were all in some way a part.
What's it mean to say you don't get a security clearance? If you're a guy like John Brennan, who's been knocking the hell out of the guy, I think appropriately, but what's it mean to say, no, sorry, Johnny, no more security briefing? What's that mean? No more clearance?
Well, oftentimes these former intelligence national security officials are called back into classified briefings. They're called back to give advice to people that are now in their roles. And we rely on them a lot. This is also a big national security issue because we rely on their expertise and their institutional knowledge. And if they don't have that clearance and they're not able to discuss these classified things with the current people on their jobs, then that is a serious national security issue.
Well, I think it's a way of reprimanding or punishing people. Anyway, reacting to the threat of having a security clearance pulled, James Clapper said his clearance was nothing to do with his criticism of the president.
Well, the security clearance has nothing to do with how I or any of us feel about the president. And I don't get clearance briefings. I don't have access to any classified information. It's frankly more of a courtesy that former senior officials in the Intelligence Committee are extended the courtesy of keeping a security clearance. Haven't had occasion to use it, and it has no bearing whatsoever on my regard or lack thereof for President Trump or what he's doing. I think this is just a very, very petty thing to do, and that's about all I'll say about it.
Similarly, former director Michael Hayden told NBC News that, quote, I don't go back for classified briefings, although they occasionally ask me in to offer a view on something, as Natasha just said, won't have any impact on what I say or write.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.